Hey guys, it's Killer here, and I'm going to be creating a deck tech for one of my favorite decks in Modern, Hardened Scales. Now, this is a deck that I've played to success for over a year now. I've gotten a Grand Prix second place, 11-4 record at two different Grand Prix, both in Grand Prix Dallas and Grand Prix Portland, as well as had many good online results with many 5-0s in leagues posting up deck lists there. And I wanted to talk about the new variation of the deck list that I created, and I played at GP Dallas to an 11-4 record, and will be streaming through a league today, and this is the deck tech for it. So today, we're going to look at the main 60 as well as the 15-card sideboard for the deck, and my unique decisions about how to build this deck. Now, a couple of unique things to look at for this deck is I have this new card from Modern Horizons called Scrapyard Recombiner. Scrapyard Recombiner has Modular 2. It allows you to sacrifice any artifact you control and search up a construct, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Now this adds another dimension to the deck, which it had before to an extent an animation module allowing you to grind super hard along with Hangerback Walker, but Scrapyard Recombiner, what it does, allows you to look up the creature of your choice besides Arcbound Ravager in your deck that is most suited for any situation. Whether you're sacrificing an artifact, you get another Scrapyard Recombiner to do it twice every turn, getting a Walking Ballista to ping down a creature or combo with Arcbound Ravager, get Hangerback Walker to make a lot of Thopters or just for a grindy game, or Arcbound Worker in a situation where you need a interesting combo kill with Arcbound Ravager. And last but not least, Steel Overseer for the grindier, longer games as well. So that's one of the biggest new additions to this deck that allowed me to grind longer against decks like Jund, Blue-White Control, even Is It Phoenix at times. And I found it to be very potent. While there weren't as many copies in many of the others deck lists that I found, or even zero, I feel like it's a very, very good card in the metagame. Even with Hogak being dominant, I think against a lot of the other decks, it's very, very powerful. Now, another thing to look at is I'm playing 4 Welding Jars in my main deck. A lot of decks lists play 3, maybe 2 even at times, but I found that having the full 4 Welding Jars are very important, especially with combo kills with Arcbound Ravager, saving a Steel Overseer, or making sure a Scrapyard Recombiner lives to see the next turn. And let's look at some of the other lands that I'm playing. I'm playing Blinkmoth Nexus as a 1-of. This is over some land like the sacrifice a creature, gain 1 life land, which I've seen used with Hangerback Walker. I felt that wasn't necessary anymore with the new Scrapyard Recombiners being another sacrifice outlet, and I felt like I wanted another man land to be able to combo kill with Arcbound Ravager with the Hardened Scales out. I've got the full 4 Darksteel Citadels as usual, 4/4 Inkmoth Nexus, full 4 Inkmoth Nexus. We only have 1 Lantern Reborn, which I believe this deck list is supposed to have actually 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so this is actually a misstep in this portion, but it's supposed to be 1 more Land Reborn, so let me change that real quick, add 1 to the deck, and take out a Forest. It allows you to combo off with both Animation Module, creating a lot of servos, allows you to put an extra counter on something like a Hangerback Walker or Walking Ballista when necessary. Just an overall great utility land that also taps for green for Hardened Scales. We've got the one of Pendelhaven. It's just a freebie. It's basically another forest that allows you to do interesting things when you've got a 1/1 out like a 1/1 Arcbound Worker or a Walking Ballista or Hangerback Walker in niche situations. We've got 2 Canopy lands, which I actually should be Nurturing Peat lands, for a very niche scenario where you want to be casting your Dismembers for 1 less painful life. But I found these to be useful in cases where you're flooding out, especially when you have 24 mana sources and the 4 Mox Opals as well as your 20 lands. And I've seen some deck lists just cut them all together, but I've found that the life loss from them is much outweighed by the fact that you can gain some incremental advantage by being able to sack it when you're flooded out, or needing to look for a very specific card. Now, I've seen some deck lists go up to 3 or even 4 animation modules. I'm sticking with just the 2 now that I have Scrapyard Recombiner as another grindy outlet for this deck, but I still find the card very, very powerful as being able to use onboard tricks with cards like Arcbound Ravager, Hangerback Walker, and Walking Ballista, as well as being able to just make a lot of servos. We've got this 1 Throne of Geth, which I've thought about taking out another Steel Overseer or maybe another card to add another Throne of Geth as both a sack outlet as well as comboing with nearly the entire deck, making your spells more powerful. but I found one to just be the exact amount because I've never wanted to draw two. I found it to be useful in certain situations, as well as a card that is just easily able to side out of your deck when you need to bring in cards like Dismember and Nature's Claim in the deck. Now let's go on to the sideboard, as the rest of the deck is pretty stock with the 4 Ancient Strengths, 4 Hardened Scales, 4 Mox Opals, Ravagers, Walking Ballistas, and all that such. I feel like there's no more to talk about the main deck, but the sideboard is a little bit interesting, as I have some non-stock cards in here, mainly talking about Karn Cyanoversa. I feel with the inclusion in the modern metagame with more decks like Blue-Eye Control, Jund, and some other mid-rangey grindy decks that may be using Karn the Great Creator to great effect, Karn Cyanoversa is a great way to get out a creature from its -2 ability that both packs a punch and fights through a Stony Silence effect, as well as getting you advantage through against decks like Jund and Blue-Eye Control that you may find necessary with their sweepers or their mass amounts of removal spells. The rest of the sideboard is pretty stock. I have gone down to 3 Nature's Claims, that I found there's less Stony Silences running about that you need to Nature's Claim. I'm down to 3 Dampening Spheres rather than the full 4 that I've played before, because there's not very much Storm. There is Tron, but you still have good combo kills versus them, and you still have Ancient Strengths to find Sphere for turn 2. The 3 Dismembers I've upped from the previous 2 that I've played in the past, because Thing in the Ice is still a very big problem. And there's some uptick in Devoted Druid decks, which you'd need the answer to on the early turns to be able to disrupt. Now, I am up to 4 Grafdigger's Cage, which in the past I've played Leyline of the Void, some Surgical Extractions, but I feel with Hogak getting the slightly slower from the ban of the Bridge from Below, I feel like 4 Grafdigger's Cage is just enough to slow them down before you can either get a combo kill or just assemble a army of beaters to take them down. Now, I feel like that's a great explanation of what I have for the deck today, and I will, in the next videos, you will see some gameplay through an entire competitive league on Magic Online, and I hope you guys enjoy it.